people, Ping William, Atoyin Juba, Malatori, hey, yo, Ping William, Atoyin Benti, Walla Quadu, hey, wow, Ping William, Atoyin Malkal, Walla Pinyaram, Ping William.
Hello, welcome to Lagos State Media. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are tuning in. We welcome you all. Today, Sunday, here in Australia on 4th of September, and it's still 3rd of September in different part of the world. With us in the studio is Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, former Secretary of spokesperson of the presidential press, and the host will be Majok Makur. Welcome all of you guys. Please share the video and Press Secretary, yes. So share the video and like and follow us in Facebook. Please, Majok Makur, take over. Will go and look after the comments and Clubhouse on the other side. The show will be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Isaac Tiang Paul. To our viewers, welcome once again to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries. And in the studio, as it was already introduced, is one of the permanent personnel, one of the young minds in our country, somebody who has dedicated his life and his service toward the welfare of our country. Honorable Molana Ateny Wek Ateny, the former press secretary in the office of president, and to add on that is the long-serving press secretary, unless otherwise. Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek. We really appreciate your always coming to Lagos State Media, and we don't take it for granted. We are honored to have you, and we will always continue engaging with you because we love those who are willing to share their opinions, their wisdom, their thoughts with their fellow citizens. South Sudan need to be shaped through ideas sharing, not gun sharing. And through that, we will develop our nation collectively. And to our viewers, thank you so much for always tuning in to Lagos State Media. We always appreciate you. We do this simply because of you. Otherwise, Lagos State Media would have not been where we are today if it is not because of you as our viewers. If you are watching us now, wherever you are, kindly share this live show so that it can reach to many South Sudanese to listen to the wisdom and the ideas from Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny. And the topic of today is already there on the screen. Is South Sudan ready for general elections? If yes, then justify what make you think that South Sudan is ready for general elections. And if not, you can still justify and give us valid reason. And up to this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I also appreciate the Lagos State Media team, headed by Isaac Tiang Paul, the president. He is now late in Australia, but he has dedicated his time for the service of our country. Abraham Adin Majaku is controlling the clubhouse, and also Bol Makur, who will join us lately, and Agardemabok. Thank you so much. I will give chance to our guest, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, to give us his opening remark while we are waiting to dive into our conversation. Honorable Ateny Wek, the chance is yours.
Yeah, before Ateny Wek, the video that circulated in the social media, we condemn that one. We needed to mention that one. That's the secret I need to tell you. Yeah.
Thank you. We will do two things. After his opening remark, we will play a clip of Honorable Makwen Luet, and thereafter we will ask Honorable Ateny to explain or make some clarification in regard to the edited clip of his previous interview with us as Lagos State Media, and we will condemn it unison. Thank you so much. The chance is yours.
First of all, I would like to thank Lagos State Media once again, having invited me on the 20th of August to debate an audio that that resulted as that came as a result of General Elena Yang talking against those whom we think were looting the country resources. And in that debate, I had the honor to debate my brother, Abraham Ulich, Abraham Kenya Ulich, who have actually maintained throughout 3 hours and a half respect and intellectual present in the debate. I cannot value what I actually said, but those who listen to us would attest to what I did in that debate. And the part 2, which was scheduled to take place on the 27th, did not take place simply because of a technical failure from my side. Because the internet service in Juba, particularly in a place that I actually set to enter into Lagos State Media from, was having a very weak, Wi-Fi, so I could not hear the presenter inside Lagos State studio, and that brought the show to an end. Not because I intended to do so, but because technically it was not possible. Now, as we are supposed to be meeting today with Abraham Awuli, Abraham Awuli, who was taken away by circumstances beyond his control, and so he could not be reached. And I am happy to come to Lagos State Media to present myself and tell our audience that it wasn't me who had wanted intentionally to stay away from the show. Otherwise, I'm here today to discuss the future of this country, particularly in regards to the general election that is scheduled to take place in 2024 on the ends of transitional period. However, I wanted to start my remark by saying once again that the country, and particularly the people, have become used to negativity. People love negative thing than the positive thing. You talk about positive thing, nobody give time to actually listen. But when you talk about negative thing, then people will have much interest on it. That is where our people are actually going to. It's so unfortunate. And I said this on the 20th. I said what we would be saying here with Abraham Ulich would be actually distorted. And in fact, it was distorted. What happened? And you people can bear an eyewitness, and those 500 or 300 people or 1,000 people who are watching can also bear witness that I didn't say what was on the audio. That, I didn't talk to any other media before I come to Lake Media on the 20th. I am not used to talking to media nowadays, like before, when I was still the press secretary in the office of the president. So I talk once in a while. The last time I spoke to Lagos State Media was some month ago, if it is 5 or 6 months ago, in Juba here. And the second time was on the 20th. I didn't talk to any other media so that an audio can be carved out of my statement. So the audio was actually maliciously concocted in order to tarnish my image and put me head on head with the government that I so represent in many cases. By the way, I'm still the member of the Constitutional Review Commission in the country. This is what I want to tell you to know. I'm not only former press secretary in the office of the president, but I'm the current member of the Constitutional Review Commission in the country. So I still have the responsibilities until when I am also asked to leave the Constitutional Review Commission, then I would then be seen to be an ordinary citizen. But now I'm not an ordinary citizen because I'm still a member of Constitutional Review Commission. I don't tell many people, but I'm happy to say it today. So I was actually representing the government in the real sense of the word. But my enemies, particularly those who want to see me rebelling, because I think in this country, there are people who are working for people to rebel. They did it with an intention because I was outside the country. So they think I will not be coming back to Juba, so that I become a rebel, for this matter, a sitting room rebel, which I cannot do. And I'm on record, I cannot rebel to the sitting room. I would have rebelled in 1983 because I was 19 years old. In 1983, I wasn't I wasn't a child. I would not have even become the Red Army because I was already grown enough. But I didn't go. If I didn't go to the War of Liberation until I actually joined the liberation struggle after 1992, then I cannot be expected to join any kind of rebellion, comes what. So those who did it, shame on them. I want people to take me for words, my own words, the thing that I say. Let me be catched with my own words. If I say them, there's no reason why the audio can be carved out of my statement. Okay, leave it as a video like this, and leave me talking as I am talking now. Those people are negative force. They did it, but they didn't succeed because I came to Juba. I'm here in Juba. I'm now talking in Juba. I came to Juba on the 25th of August. Even when technical failure happened in the second debate on the 27th, I was right here in Juba, and I wanted to say that I'm not going to leave Juba. I am a member of this government, and I will continue to be a member of this government in as much as I still have those responsibilities that I would be actually rendering. So I am happy, gentlemen, in the studio, and ladies and gentlemen in the clubhouse, that I am here today to discuss and also do my small part. I don't have the authority. I'm not talking with the authority of someone who has the assignment in the biggest office. But as a citizen of this country, I have right under Article 24 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan, as amended, which allow the freedom of expressions. And also, I have also right under Article 25 of the Constitution of the South Sudan 2011, as amended, because I can associate with people, provided those people are associating positively, not to sabotage the country or not to subvert anything. I can associate, I have a right to do that. So now my association is that I'm a member of the SPLM. I'm a member of 2008, SPLM National Convention. I'm still there until the SPLM call for National Convention. If I am not elected again, then I will cease to be a member of the convention. But now I'm still a member of convention. I have that authority as a member of convention, elected from my constituency, and I am proud to be here today. Today we are talking about the election, and I'm very, very happy to be here this afternoon, wherever it is, like afternoon in United States, and close to midnight in Australia and Australasia, and evening in Africa, and particularly in the East Africa and Central Africa. Okay, the West Africa is still 4 o'clock, or it is still 4 o'clock. 6 o'clock is 4 o'clock. So I'm happy to be here with you today, and I want you people to join me also to condemn this malicious act, where the audios, where the videos are altered to produce an audio that is not necessary at all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, for your opening remarks and for also clarifying that malicious audio which was edited by the enemies of progress, which we can say so. To our viewers, kindly, as like state media, we are legitimate, functional online media, and we have our full office in Juba. So kindly, once we spot you doing such activities on our timeline or on with our interviews, and we know who you are, we can take legal actions against you, because it is not necessary for you to come and disgrace our guest. You wait for them or invite them to your platform so that you can go and do your activities the way you wish them to be. The audio, ladies and gentlemen, was purely edited, and the words were cut short and connected in order to form a certain sentences that could be perceived by those who believe that they are South Sudanese. And once you speak about your country, there are people outside there who always come out to make sure that you are not the citizen of this country to speak. The citizen of this country is somebody who speak according to what they want. But to be honest, all of you have watched the live show which we conducted and the interview these two gentlemen did, including former Governor Ateny Wek, who joined them lately. The debates were intellectually informed, and they were actually respectful, and they shown that certain level of maturity during that debate. They did not touch anybody. They did not insult anybody, nor did they even exchange words among themselves. They were debating as intellectuals, as mature personalities of our country. Up to this juncture, Lagos State media condemned this in the strongest term possible, and we wrote it on our timeline, and we have this chance again to appeal to our viewers. We condemn it in its totality, and we don't encourage such activities to continue. Wait for them wherever you will wait for them, and try to do whatever thing that you want to do. But lastly, Honorable Ateny mentions very crucial points that South Sudanese are engaging toward negativity in opposed to the positivity. And that is very true. It is attested by live show. When somebody come live, title is live show that is insulting so and so, you'll find South Sudanese gathering themselves and converge there to listen to the insults being poured toward this person. And once somebody title is live show that I want to share a certain message to South Sudanese, you'll find very few interesting citizens gathering there to listen to these thoughts or wisdom. So it means we so much focus on negative parts of our country rather than the positivity of our country. And all of us are responsible in the developments of that country. It is not a responsibility of the leadership of the day. All of us must do our part as a citizen and as a bona fide citizens of that country. Such lugubrious actions is not encouraged at all, and we will not entertain it. Thank you so much for that, and we hope you can share this live show so that many people also will understand the context where the edited audio was derived from. Thank you so much. Gerald, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, we also appreciate you giving us your new position, because in your position actually, but we were not aware of it. We apologize for that. As a member of Constitutional Review Commission, that is a very big commission, and that is, you are the right person actually to talk about the constitutional review and the topic of today at hand, which is general elections. Kindly, can you tell us, is South Sudan ready for general elections next year or not? And this question is derived out of some of the circumstances surrounding our election. Number one is where you belong. That is Constitutional Review Commission. Our constitutions, we really need the agreement said or spell it out clearly that the constitution should be reviewed before election, which means we should have our permanent constitution before we go for an election. Number two, we should be having general census to know the population of the country, who is qualified to vote and who is not qualified to vote. Number three, the insecurity across the country. And there are numerous things that surround the questions that we brought forward today. And before you answer that, There is a small audio clip which we really need to play a bit before you come into the terms of answering the question. To our viewers, listen kindly to the word of Honorable Minister of Information and Communication Postal Service, Honorable Mukwenelwet. Kindly play the
South
video.
Sudan is not ready for elections. I don't know what is the criteria which you are using. What is the mechanism for evaluating as to whether people are ready for elections or not? For us, we say we are ready for elections, and the elections will be run. There are those who believe that we are not going for elections unless all the provisions of the agreement are implemented. That is rubbish. Even the provisions of the CPA up to now are not all implemented. CPA and Jablena independence there. Some provisions are still outstanding. Some of them like what? Like the border commission. Like the 3 areas. Like the Jibala Nuba and Angasana Blue Nile. This is part of the CPA. The unified forces, when they were set up to the time of independence and we became independent, they were never unified. So there are some provisions of the agreements which are not usually necessary. And they cannot be a condition for doing anything. This is why we conducted the elections, Yumdak, and this is why we conducted the referendum, despite the fact that some provisions of the agreement were not. If we were to be intransigent, we would say, Wallahi, ma b'namul intikhabat, ma b'namul referendum, unless the issue of borders is determined. Up to now, it is not determined. Should we have waited for it? There are people who say we will not go for elections unless the population census is conducted. For what? For you to conduct a population census, you need 2 years. We are not ready to go beyond. There are people who say unless the displaced people and the refugees are repatriated. Repatriation is a voluntary work. It's a voluntary thing. It is not compulsory. The government cannot go and tell the refugees in all the refugees camps, "Oi, come here, go home." That is not the case. It is the refugee who would say, "I want to be repatriated." Then we will repatriate him. Even the displaced here in this camp, here in Juba, we cannot force them to go home if they don't want. So that condition is not in place. Those who are in the field now, Al-Karajumba, Sayad, will be deployed now. Tayin Jabo will be deployed with their sticks. We'll deploy them. But then we'll see what they will do on the ground.
Yeah, thank you so much, Isaac Tiangpol, for playing that clip of Honorable Michael Mukwenlwet. Yeah, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, the chance is yours now. Combining the questions at hand and the statements of Honorable Minister. Thank you.
My text is this: why not having elections? There must be election, because when the revitalized peace agreement on resolution of conflict was signed in September 2018 in Addis Ababa, it was signed on the premises that at the end of it, there must be election. The end of transition period, which was 3 years, according to the agreement. The 3 years were to elapse in the beginning of 2023. There should have been election by that time. But due to circumstances beyond the reach of the parties in the agreement, they sat down and extended the transition to to another 2 years. And by now, we have already finished 5 years down the line since the signing of the agreement. Because the parties in the agreement, if they so decide to extend the agreement, they have right to extend it, whether people want it or not. So they extended it. The roadmap has also given 2 years extension, which will end in the end of 2024. In the end of 2024, we would have 7 years transition. If we don't go for election, then we are looking for something else, because there will be no mandate for the government to continue to govern unless they are given a new mandate by the people of South Sudan. The agreement would have elapsed by 2024. So those who said there should be no election, they are trying to create vacuum in the government, in the political setting of the country, which cannot be accepted. It's not acceptable. Let's look here. And it's very simple. The SPLM, which is led by President Kiir, is willing to go for election. And they are the incumbent. The incumbent is willing to go for election. Why should somebody else be refusing to go for election? This is a simple question that people can just put in place. Because if there is election, then the president and all the other political post holders will be put on test in order for them to be re-elected or not elected. But if there is no election, the incumbent continue. The incumbent will continue unabated. Nobody will tell the president go away, and nobody will tell anybody to go away. It is the election that the people have the right to vote for or to vote against. That's the only method. Where people are asked to vote, they are individuals, and later on they will collectively have voted or have voted somebody out. For those who want no elections in the country, these people are actually working to bring down the whole country. Otherwise, there's no any reason why there is no election. There should be no election in the country. There must be election. The other thing, people talk about the provisions that are not implemented. Honorable Michael McQuay said it to the effect. And he said it clearly, wide and clear, that he has even likened the agreement on resolution of conflict, which is the revitalized one, with the comprehensive peace agreement, the CPA, in 2005. That there are some provisions within the CPA that have not been fully implemented. Yet South Sudan became independent without them. So if some provision were to be ignored, having not been implemented during the CPA, but yet culminated into the independence of Republic of South Sudan, then we say, even with those provisions which were not implemented, they served the purpose. The purpose was to see South Sudan gaining independence, which we have done clearly. Now, the other process which are supposed to precede the elections, starting from population census, writing of the constitutions, making a national army, and all this, if they are not fully implemented because they require time and space to implement them, if they are not fully implemented and the purpose is served, if we go to election based on the 2010 constituencies of 171 members, that is exactly what commensurate with the population of the Republic of South Sudan. We cannot go for a parliament of 600 people like now. The parliament of 600 people, okay, must be discouraged, because this is a parliament came to being as a result of the agreement that was signed between the parties in the revitalized peace agreement. So they have a share of cakes. This is a party of share of cakes. Now, the people of South Sudan, owing to the fact that they wanted services, a large and huge government is not good for them. So they must commensurate with the population proportions. The proportions of those who go to the parliament is carved out of a population. Even if we go for census, you cannot get the population of South Sudan to be more than 15 million. And 15 million exactly are presented by 170. Even if we are 15 million, we cannot be 15 million. But if we are 15 million, 171, the constituencies of 2010 would still be serving a good purpose if we are to gear towards a government that will be service delivery motivated. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, there are people who say the election will not be free and fair. Yes. What is South Sudan? South Sudan is a country that by the time of the election will be 13 years old. Under Sudan, we did election that cannot meet the credibility of an election. But yet, when you are a beginner, you start continuously, you improve until you come to the level of where you will be actually doing a free and fair election. Free and fair election are to be held by credible institutions that oversees the democratic election. It's still a long way. So we have to start to put people of South Sudan on election. Okay, in 2024. In 2028, we put them for another election. In 2032, we put them for another election. As we go, we improve the mistake. Like now, the SPLM is improving the mistakes of 2010. Because the election of 2010 was for the reason of a referendum, of working for the referendum of the country and the consequence and the subsequent secession from Sudan. Well and good. Okay. The mistakes that were made were committed in 2010. The SPLM now is committed to change them. Comes the primaries for the SPLM political party. The SPLM will now go for primaries. If it goes for primaries, then Ateny Wek in his constituency cannot be given a pre-lunch, no blank check to be given to me. Somebody somewhere within my constituency will have to compete with me. If I manage to beat that person, then that person will know that I am the flag bearer for the SPLM in that particular constituency in Awul South. That is an improvement. What made the SPLM to benefit from the mistakes of 2010 is what will make the government of South Sudan, okay, to correct if the election in 2024 is done and will still not be perfect. We also hoped for the election of 2028, okay, or 2029 or 2030 to be better than the election of 2024 or 25. So we have to educate the people. Those who were born in 2010 are going to be, they are now 13 years old. And in another 5 years, there will be voters. They didn't know the mistake that happened in 2010. And those who did not vote in 2010, who were only 5 years old, those who were born on CPA in 2005, will be voters. Can we not put them to exercise their right to vote? And there are a significant number, by the way, of our population, because one man or one woman, okay, can have about, let's say if one man can have about 5 or 6 children, the average of 5, born in 2005. You know, if you equate 5 with 1, the 5 are many. Those 5 who were born in 2005 and those who were born in 2006 are all voters in 2024. These people, you need to recognize them and make sure that you engage them. So the election is necessary. It is necessary because it is necessary for the country, because the people wanted to go for a lean government so that the services are delivered. Instead of putting the whole thing on the salary of this huge government, a government of 5 vice presidents, a government of 40-something ministers at the national level, a government of 650 MPs at the national level, and 100 each state, that is 1,000 in the 10 states, okay? And ministers, 17 each state is 170. And then you go to commissioners of 79 counties. This is a huge government. You need to do election in order to do away with certain things. Okay, so whoever doesn't want the election, that person is living in the past, because South Sudan must embark on the election. And by the way, to tell you a short history as an exit point from this topic, and allow other people to also have projection on how the election will be done and what I actually said. If there are people also to respond, that will be good. By the way, when we gained autonomy in 1972 on the wake of the Addis Ababa Agreement, Southern Sudan by then, not South Sudan, Southern Sudan by then, which was part of Sudan during the time of General Nimeri, we conducted the best election ever conducted in the sub-Saharan Africa. Go to the history, it will tell you. When Abel Alier used to compete with Joseph Lago, it was a free and fair election. To the point, Nimeri even became jealous, because people were talking about how democratic people of South Sudan has become. And Nimeri, has out of jealous, he decided to divide South Sudan into Southern Sudan into 3 regions, so that we will be struggling. You know, we struggle with Baragazal, we struggle with Upper Nile, we struggle with Equatoria, and even created Kokora, so that the Equatorian tells the people of Baragazal, you don't have to stay in Juba, and all this, in order for us to have confusion. It's simply because we are the first in the sub-Saharan Africa to conduct free and fair election. It was not conducted in Kenya then. It was not conducted in Tanzania, in Uganda. Okay, you name all these countries in sub-Saharan Africa, no. Okay, if there was any country that would talk of a democracy during the time when Southern Sudan democracy was, okay, I don't know which country is that. South Africa by then was an apartheid regime, whereby the small minority, the minority whites were ruling South Africa. So there was no any other democratic country in Africa. So we democratized before, and South Sudanese should take this one as something to be proud of. By the way, if they don't forget the history. Now, a South Sudanese is somebody now who doesn't know how to do election now, as we speak. We drop back. After even gaining independence, we drop back completely to the backwater, to the point that we don't even know that one time, and some people are still alive, there was a credible election that was conducted in Southern Sudan. What is wrong now? We are a sovereign country. What is wrong now? Something that will prevent us to actually conduct meaningful election. Okay? At the end of the day, we are all democratic. Our societies are democratic. Okay? With the exception of the tribes that have kingdom, whereby kings are almost worshipped. Okay? In the other societies which has no kings, a chief can be challenged by a common man, telling him, please, what you are doing now will destroy the country, will destroy our homeland. Don't do this or don't do that. The chiefs are corrected. Okay, so our society is already democratic. Only what we need is for the government of the day to guide us towards democratizing or toward institutionalizing our democracy. But we are already democratic. Anybody has right to say anything, okay? With the exception of those that are actually governed by the kings. Because I don't know how you talk to somebody when you see him walking, you kneel down and put your your knees down. I don't know how you can talk to them. But for those who can just talk to you while they are walking, I know, because I come from an area that has a chief, and the chief is a normal person. You know, in Rumbek, in anywhere, okay. Anybody talks to chief at any time, and even chief is the hotel. His house is the hotel. Okay. Anybody who is crossing to anywhere, you ask, where is the house of chief? If you are shown, you go to the house of chiefs, you will be getting your food, you will be getting your sleep. It's a hotel. So we are already democratic. We don't need much. We only need institutionalization of our democracy. And so it won't be difficult for us to see a credible election happening in South Sudan. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, for your response. And to make it a bit clear and loud, you said the reason why we should go for an elections. Number one, we have bureaucratic governments. This huge government economically is not good for the country. And if we go for an elections, the elections will reduce the size of the government, and we'll be having a lean government of which it can be managed, and it will be in a position to manage the resources and channel most of the resources that are now being given to 100 MPs as incentive. They can be divert that money into the development sector, provide hospitals, roads, schools, and all those. That's one. Number two, you said if we don't go for an elections, and then the citizens themselves are tired with the extensions and agreements. So citizens also want elections. And if we go for elections, then the country will change. And the change of the country will start from the leadership. Those are the things that you mentioned. But let me ask you this question, Honorable Ateny. Do you agree with Michael McQuay, Honorable McQuay, that he said there are those who said if census is not done, then there is no general election. And he said that is rubbish. We should go for an elections without census, because the census can take us 2 years. Do you believe in that? Because you were actually giving statistics on and the birth rate of the kids that were born in 2005. These people can qualify to vote. But how will we know that these kids is actually born in 2005? So should we tell them to show their national ID if we don't do the census? Or kindly, can you elaborate more on that? Maybe within the next 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yes. I actually agree with Comrade Michael McQuay on the premise that census is more complicated than the election. You cannot wish to do something which is more complicated, and you leave the cheaper thing, something that can be easy to do. It doesn't go well with the wisdom here. In order to conduct census, first of all, the census doesn't help the election, because you will count even a 1 month or 1 day old child. You will count them. These are not the target of election. So you are going to write the 10 million South Sudanese, or 15 million South Sudanese, or even 20 million South Sudanese if they can. But for election, you need the adult suffrage, which is 18 years old and above. If you are writing 18 years old and above, you are writing about 3 or 4 million, which is easy. So if somebody says it can be easy for us to go for registering 15 million, and somebody who says it is easy to register the 4 million downwards, then it is the 4 million that is easy. And I'm telling you what I know, even if we do what, South Sudan will never be more than 15 million inhabited. South Sudan has a large land, but it's sparsely populated. It doesn't have much population. It should be around 15. But the type of parliament we have is even bigger than that of China, with 1.4 billion people. Simply because if you see 650 and the 5,000 members in the Chinese parliament and equate them with the population, you will find that we are even ahead of China, considering how many people we have. So we have to go for election on the basis of the census. That was in 2008. It will be better than just saying without election. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The other thing is why I'm actually, why I'm actually, yeah, okay. The other thing is why I think election is important is simply because you cannot have anything else, because an election is an election. Even let me tell you this: the Iranians does the elections. Are they democratic? The Syrians does the election. Bashar al-Assad did election several times within Damascus. He have never even went to Adlib or to go far as to Halabji, Alua Halab, and he did not go anywhere. But he was within the area of Damascus. He has been conducting election because it is necessary for people to see some sort of election happening. So why not for us? Now there is a relative peace in the country. Okay, and those who have still forces outside, their forces outside, forces that they did not bring to be trained. Okay, unless they have any other intention which is not known, there must be election. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ateny. Before I yield it back to Lagos State Media team in the studio to display some of our viewers' questions, I truly believe there are many questions under the comment section there. There is one thing you need to make it clear. You are talking about the credibility of the elections or the outcome. Because many people are saying if we go for elections, the elections will not be free, fair, and credible. And you said how many countries that have ever conducted their first election since they gained independence and it was credible. So are you telling the viewers that the election, we are going for an election, although the election will not be free, fair, and credible? Or what are you saying? You answer that within 2 minutes, and then we'll display questions from the comment section and then the clubhouse. Thank you.
No. I know what I'm saying is that even credibility itself has categories of it, depending on the level of the credibility you are talking about. Those who are saying that there should be no election think that if the national army is not in place, then the election will be subject to manipulation, because there will be still one army. That is the army which they associate with the SPLM, the main SPLM. And there are those who say, if the constitution is not done, you know, when the agreement was signed, and all those provisions actually were placed in the agreement, were to make sure that when the election comes, it will be a free and fair election. But it's still, the census and the constitution, they require a very long time. In order for Kenya to have a constitution that they can be proud of, it took them many years in order for them to have a constitution of today. So about the credibility, yes, we will have a credibility based on the angle each of us will be actually looking at it. The credibility has categorization, as I tell you. The election in 2010 was said not to be credible, even from the point of view of those who actually came to monitor it. They say it was not credible. Let's see, because we will allow the election to have to be done in 2024, and we will allow the international observers to come in. And then later on, it is the international observers to tell us exactly whether the credibility, okay, is there or not. And as we push forward with the election, the people of South Sudan will begin to learn about how the elections are conducted. We cannot gain the independence and stay indefinitely without elections. That will not be good even for the country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny, for that. Indeed, international community, if we go for elections, will come to give us the mark, how standard the elections was, and whether we have met a certain standard compared to 2010 elections. Thank you so much. I will go back to the team to display maybe.
Cannot be student. Yeah.
Yeah, to display some of the questions under the comment section. Yeah, we have a question here from James Sevit Majur. Yeah, Honorable Ateny, would you kindly take us through step 1 to last step about how government of South Sudan is preparing for free and fair elections? Yeah, basically, Joseph Sevit Majur is talking about credibility of the elections and what are the steps that should be taken, since the elections is the process. So that's what his question is all about. And if there is another question, you can display 2 questions, and then we go for answering. Yeah, we have question here from Jeslington, DC. Are you going to contest, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny? Can you also tell us what would change after elections that cannot be achieved now? And if so, would the other party of the country be part of these elections? The SPLM-IO stronghold, moreover, it will look like the government is meant for few states that are under the SPLM-IO leadership, areas that President Salva Kiir or other government officials cannot visit. How fair would elections be? Honorable Ateny, many people aren't in the country. Thank you. You answer those 2 questions, and then we go another 2 questions, I think.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, the first question about the steps. You know, the steps the government is taking, if you have heard Comrade Michael McQuay short audio or short video, he has highlighted the reason why the election should be necessary. Because he think, implementing all the provisions before the election will be a mammoth task and will be very difficult. It will require even many years. Unless if South Sudanese are ready to go for 10 years transition so that the current government continue for 10 years. That you can have the constitution in place, you can have the census in place, okay, and then you can have the national army in place. But for those of us who are here in Juba, who knows exactly how, how things are actually going, because we are inside here, it is difficult to achieve those three things before any elections. You cannot. Simply because, one, the national army, okay, the conglomeration of former militias of different parties in the agreement, the training of them becoming soldiers has already been underway. It has been completed. They were actually graduated with no guns because we are still under armed embargo. So they have no guns. The question is to how somebody will be a national army without a gun. That's the only thing that I will not even know how to answer it. Because already within our communities, there are some communities that are armed to teeth. And part of insecurity that is happening in the country is because the small arms are in hands of unauthorized. If an army is trained and then graduated with the sticks, and you ask those army to go and collect the guns, the real guns from the hand of the civilian,
To our viewers, we apologize for the inconveniences caused by the Wi-Fi or the internet connectivity on the side of our guest, Honorable Ateny. I may ask the team in Lagos State Media to drop him and then let him come back to complete the question sections before we end the show. Thank you. And to those who are in Clubhouse, kindly try to put your questions in a bullet point, because we will not have more time to spend. If he comes back, we'll just focus on the question section. To those who are on Facebook watching and you have commented your question under the comment section, thank you so much. Make sure all your questions will be displayed and our guests will be in a position to answer them accordingly. Thank you so much. I will yield it back to the President of Lagos State Media if you have something to add. Thank you. Our guest is already back. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
You can pick it up from there.
Yeah, now, yeah. So the extent of which, an army with the stick cannot be possibly put on course to disarm those who are actually armed with AK-47, for example. It is impossible. Okay? So, and we are not yet out of armed embargo. If we are waiting for a national army that will be having real guns, then we are going to wait indefinitely. That's one. The second step is the issue of writing the constitution. Only those who are not properly informed could say that a constitution is an easy task. I am a member of Constitutional Review Commission, and believe me, let me tell you, when we were when we were reviewing the constitution in 2013, 2014, 2015, in order to produce the permanent constitution, Akolda Mantier, Professor Akolda, the late Akolda, Allah Irahmu, was the chairperson, now deputized by William Muthwan. Dr. William Muthwan is still now our acting chairperson. The chairperson has not been, elected yet, has not been appointed yet. So William Muthwan now is the current Constitutional Review chairperson. By the time I was a member of the civil society, representing the civil society in the Constitutional Review Commission. Believe me, there is one time we spent 7 months to only finish 3 or 4 articles. We didn't go. We didn't move because the Constitution, writing the Constitution is the most difficult thing. People can debate even the language of the Constitution, the language itself, the language of how a certain provision is framed. Because, remember that there are a number of lawyers in the Constitutional Review Commission. They are lawyers. They debate, and even before we go to people, we did not go anywhere until the war erupted in 2013. And we came to another chapter. We went to another chapter. You cannot review the Constitution while the other segment of the society is already out fighting. Okay? So the process of even reviewing the Constitution stopped because of the war in 2013. So writing a Constitution is a most difficult thing. Now, the government is not one. Okay? The government may be one on the basis of the agreement that they have signed, and they are within the transitional government, of which 5 members, okay, started from the SPLM, the SPLM-IO, the SAWA, the OPP, the National Agenda, okay? There are 5 parties in the government, okay? Those 5 parties, there are 6 parties in the agreement, okay? Those 6 parties in the agreement can try to put their interest on the Constitution because they want to see they want to see a Constitution as a mirror for each of these parties' interests. It will be even more difficult. So I am not anticipating the write-up of a permanent Constitution before we go for election. Okay. The other part is the population census, which I said earlier, that population census is more difficult. Okay. Thank God in 1983, when there was a population census, as a young man, I participated in the 1983 census before before Nimeri announced Sharia laws, the September laws, that resulted into demonstrations by students all over South Sudan, which later on culminated into the SPLA, the formation of the SPLA. The census was the most difficult thing. I was given an area of about 5,000 people. I almost spent 3 months without finishing 5,000 people. So writing census is not an easy thing. So if we connect all these things with the election, then why not telling the people of South Sudan, give us 10 years. Let's have the election in 2020, in 2034. If this is what people want. But because people wanted election to be done, let it be done on the basis of the existing constitution, which I think is very good to the parties in the agreement, because, gentlemen, if there is a provision that goes against the other provision, if there is a conflict between the provision in the Constitution of South Sudan 2011 and the revitalized peace agreement or resolution of conflict, the revitalized peace agreement or resolution of conflict provision will take precedence over the Constitution of 2011, which is a good thing for the parties in the agreement. So they shouldn't doubt the laws upon which the election should be conducted, because these laws are favoring the agreement, and any member in the agreement, any party in the agreement, has a right, okay, to say anything they wanted to say in regard to the election. If the election are not to be free and fair, they will tell people that the election are not going to be free and fair. I think this is the process. Regarding the other question as to whether I should be running or not, I cannot start running, or I cannot start saying I want to run when the marathon has not yet even announced the date. And also, as a member of the SPLM, and a very committed member for that matter, it is the party that will tell me whether I should run or not. I'm a loyal member of the SPLM. If I'm a lawyer of the member of the SPLM, it is the SPLM when they do their strategies as to who are the individual capable to be the flag bearers for the SPLM and capable to win the election. But as you know, our societies are tribal and sectional. Okay, so you cannot take somebody from Numuli and tell him to run in Malengalel, in the Wool South, or in Rumbek for that matter, or in Pachong, or Malengo. These areas that you people are familiar with. Even Ateny Wek Ateny cannot go and run in Malengo, because even if I am taken there as a member of the SPLM, we have not reached that level whereby the SPLM can just take their members to run for the office anywhere. So it is the SPLM that will decide whether I am capable of winning the seat for the SPLM in that particular constituency. If we are to adopt the constituencies as it stood in 2010, then my constituency is number 6 in Wool South. If I'm running there, it is the SPLM to tell me. If they told me not to run, then let it be, because I cannot just go and run alone without being given instruction by the SPLM to run. The last part of the other question was what was it?
It was about
because I didn't,
the
I didn't
insecurity.
write it down.
Yeah, it was about insecurity. That there are some states that are under the SPLM-IO which are not conducive for the SPLM-IG to campaign in.
Yes. First of all, let us agree on this, that Dr. Riek Machar, as I speak with you, where I am, is conducting a workshop in which all the paramount chiefs in South Sudan were invited. They are in. They come into the workshop from morning up to the evening. Even now, they are still there. The reason for doing this is to harmonize, because they are actually, the workshop is about peace, and this workshop was organized by the Ministry of Peace in the Transitional National Unity Government. So all the information that will be disseminated, I believe, in that workshop is to tell paramount chiefs that a peace is to be upheld in all the areas in South Sudan. If the peace is upheld in all areas in South Sudan, then the ability of other party members to campaign where the IO and SAWA forces are actually based, then it will be possible, simply because it is the sons and daughters of those places that will be actually going there to campaign. Like in Nasser, our Secretary General Peter Lambert comes from Nasser. Okay, and Nasser, particularly outside of Nasser, is still have forces of the SPLM-IO that have not been brought to Juba. Launwer area, where Dr. Barnaba Marial Benjamin comes from, is still have forces of the SPLM-IO that have not come to Juba, or have not even come to be part of peace agreement. And also in Akoba area, there are a number of places that are under IO. Even recently, it was very difficult for anybody to go to Akobo. But with the first vice president being actively a member of the government of transitional unity, I believe it is going to be possible if Dr. Riek Machar accepts to join the election, because there's no other way they can even hang on into the leadership unless they go for the election. So I don't think there will be another problem on that side, because the parties in agreement are here. About people that are outside the country, I don't think That one is practical because I am not sure of any country that has managed to bring home all its citizens in order to participate in the election. There's no any single country. Even the United States of America has no everybody in United States. United States of America is one of the top peaceful countries in the world, is a top democratic country in the world. Okay, but still there are a number and hundred or even millions of Americans outside United States, but they participate in election in one way or the other because where they are registered. So as Michael McCoy said, you cannot force somebody in the refugee camp to come back home because the return is a voluntary. Repatriation is a voluntary work. If there is a repatriation and now somebody in Kakuma refugee camp or in the camp in Uganda is asked to come back to South Sudan, they must agree because first they are under protection of United Nations. You cannot force them out of those camps. And because of the camps in which some people are actually are there, not because they are directly a danger, they have a danger that is directly targeting them, but because they are able even to take their children to schools there, okay? They cannot come and we cannot wait for them. If the citizenship is not waived, they should be registered where they are in their camps to vote, and their vote will be also counting. They should be registered in those places. The United Nations doesn't go against a country that wants to register its own citizen outside the country, even if they are in a refugee camp. So for that part, that there are many people outside. By the way, let me tell you this, the population inside South Sudan is bigger than population outside. If I'm not wrong, we have less than 80,000 South Sudanese in Australia. We have less than 200,000 South Sudanese in America. We have less than 5,000 or even 10,000 South Sudanese in Europe, the whole European countries combined, including where I was. Okay, we have in a bordering country, in our bordering countries, our neighboring countries, we can have a significant number of refugees in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in Uganda. Central Africa, no, because you cannot go to another place where you can even, if you are a Central African, you will even ask for refuge elsewhere. There's no in Congo, okay? But these three countries combined, okay, they cannot have more than 3 million or 2 million. They cannot even go to 2 million. So the people outside the country are less than those who are inside, but they can be registered like the time of referendum. You people voted without need of coming to South Sudan. Still, that thing could be done. The government of South Sudan can do.
The network in Juba is disturbing, and we were thinking that we left only with the two questions in the comment section and one person in the clubhouse.
I think Isaac, we should just give a chance to the people in clubhouse instead of.
All right then.
Yeah, let us give those the questions in the section and then give.
Yes, if he comes back, let us start with the clubhouse straight away because the time we had agreed is elapsed.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Molana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. By the way, it is the internet that stopped without any warning. So I'm here now. So I'm telling that gentleman or a lady, because I didn't see the name properly, that there is no place in the world where the citizens are actually asked to come back home in order to conduct election. Citizens vote anywhere if you can manage to register them. But most of the cases, those who are outside, particularly those who are politically active, they may boycott election. They may say they don't want to vote for election back home. And an election also is a voluntary. Do you know? You can register 5 million and only, you know, and only 2 or 3 million can turn up for election. That is why the percentage at registration and percentage at turnover in in the election are not the same. The percentage that will be used for winning or for losing would be actually determined by the number of people that has in fact voted. So election is also a voluntary thing. You can choose to vote, and you can choose not to vote. But if you don't vote, then you renege from your right as a citizen and your duties. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ateny. Yeah, by the way, the internet is disturbing you simply because we maybe surpassed the time that we set, and we will not spend much, at least 4 minutes, for you to answer the question from Clubhouse, and then maybe one question from the comment section, and then your last remark. Abraham Adit, you can give chance to the Clubhouse person to ask the question.
We have 3 people in Clubhouse at this moment. So the first one is a call. If you can hear my voice, you can open your mic. Has your question. I would like you guys to ask only one question. So because we ran out of time, thank you.
Thank you, Ramadi, and the other moderators. Thank you, Honorable Ateny Wek. Actually, he has already responded to what I came to question him regarding the army, the unified forces that were graduated with the states. And now people were calling that we are going for election and we have no unified forces with guns. So, but he has already said something about that. But my question to you here, Honorable Ateny, is there is no anywhere in the world, as you mentioned, that election always the loser will find a ground to complain. And given the situation of our country, we are tribally divided, and there are so many things that have not been put in place regarding the phase implementation, as we all know. And then also there is a question that there is not even SPLM party is not registered yet. Are you aware of that? That there are no political party registered, and also that the SPLM as a ruling party right now has not leveled the playing field. They are the only one operating and restricting other political parties. Is there anything that you know about that? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Akol. That's a question from Akol. And another thing to add on that about the stick, I'm the soldier with the stick from West. I have a question follow up for that. What about the gun that were collected from the civilians, from Lake State and across the country? Some of the states that they collected the arm from civilians. Where are these guns go? Why the government use those guns to arm the soldiers? You can add that to that question. And the next on the line, Andrew. Andrew, if you are there, open your mic and have your one question. Thank you. Andrea, sorry about that. Andrea, go ahead. Can you speak louder?
No. Can I answer the 2 and then we come back?
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, hang on, Andrea. Andrew, hang on. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm not writing. Yeah, so a lot of questions without writing them would actually mess me up. First of all, Akol, thank you so much for asking very straightforward questions about the registration of political parties. By the way, some people think that when the fighting happened in the country and the number of people actually rebelled to fight the government, they think people will sit and wait for them until they come back. This is what is in other people's mind. The SPLM was registered even when I was still in the office of the president under the Political Parties Act 2015. We had a march from J1 to the Dr. John Garang Mizelio. That was the meeting point. Then we walked all the way through to Sabbath day Adventist roundabout. Okay, we took a because there is an exit that goes to Gudela and the exit that goes to Munuki. We went even walking on foot, including President Salva Kiir. That was in 2016. That was in 2017. We walked until we reached the political parties cancelled to register the SPLM. The SPLM was registered as a political party in the country under the Act of Political Parties, the Political Parties Act 2015. So the SPLM was registered. What I want to actually categorically say here is that under revitalized peace agreement or resolution of conflict, there will be a revitalized or a constituted political parties council, which will include members of the SPLMIO, the members of the SAWA, the members of other political parties, OPP, and the members of National Agenda, and you name them. That council is yet to come to force. The revitalized or the amendment of the Political Parties Act 2015 is yet to come out from a reconstituted parliament of national unity, which is now in place. And then the formation of the political party council, and even the elections, electoral commission, because the commission now are underway now to be actually formed. The president and the other parties in the government are actually the political parties. The other leaders of other political parties in government are working now to reconstitute the commissions, including the election commission, including the political parties council, which will be actually, which will actually be the body to register the political parties. When the SPLM go to register in under the revitalized or reconstituted political party council, it doesn't say SPLM is going to register from the scratch. It is already a registered party. The other parties have not yet registered, including the SPLM-IO. When they register under the old one is still there now. The political parties council is still there. They can go. And this is where, by the way, Peter Moranyar Biet is the head of the political parties council. Okay. In law, okay, or constitutionally, if a new law has not come to force, you don't do away with the existing one. This is called a doctrine of implied repeal. It is the law that comes to force that repealed the existing one, the old one. So before we have a law that will repeal the 2015 Political Parties Act, it is still in place. So the SPLM is registered party. We didn't wait for the SPLM-IO to come first in order for us to legitimize the process of registering a political party in the country. So we have the existing registration for the SPLM until the reconstituted one comes later on. When the reconstituted political parties council comes for registration, then the SPLM-IO, the OPP, the SAWA, the new party of Abraham Awulik, or the new party of Peter Biarajak will then come to register together with those of the SPLM-IO. The SPLM will go and register because under the new circumstances, the new political dispensation, but they are registered already. The other one, which is a part of what Abraham Madid actually added as a follow-up questions in regards to the guns that were collected from the hands of the civilian, the armed civilian, in order to arms the National Army. those that were actually collected from Rumbek, from Tony, from where they are not enough. They cannot even arm 10%. Do you know how many people are supposed to be the national army? Is 84,000. And there has never been more than 10,000 guns collected anywhere. So they cannot arms everyone. I was thinking, and I was thinking that the partners in peace agreement, and particularly the friends of South Sudan, would be actually working to lift the army embargo for South Sudan, at least for this moment, to arm the national army, because you cannot have a national army that has no guns. In order for an army to be national, it is the gun that make them national, not and then the orientation. Then you orient them, and they don't have guns, and they don't have enough to eat. They will go back to their militia, where they can even be collecting food from the civilian again.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Ateny, for answering those questions. I think we are left with the
back to you
with the last.
in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are left with the 2 questions or 1 questions. You will have 2 minutes to answer that questions, and then 3 minutes for your last remark, so that we can close the show. Thank you so much. You can display that questions, Isaac.
No, it's from.
No, we have one person in Clubhouse.
Okay,
Andrew,
Clubhouse. All right.
Andrew, go ahead, and you can speak louder.
Okay, you guys brought me up, okay, and you guys don't give me damn.
Okay. Never mind. I move him down. I have no time for that. So go ahead with the other question, Isaac, to reply.
Yes. Yeah. I got 2 more questions here. Let me just bring them up. They just okay. One from the Martin Rope. It says, would be there an independent candidates if there are more candidates in the same party, specifically SPLM in government? That is the first question from Martin Rope. And the second question coming from Francis M. Malual says, you mentioned that the SPLM will conduct primaries for their nominees, but the president is already nominated as a party flag bearer in 2024. When did the SPLM conducted the primary to nominate President Kiir, or the primary doesn't apply to him? How to explain this? That's the question. These are the only 2 questions to answer them briefly, for the time is going. Thank you, Honorable Ateny. The floor is yours.
Okay. The first one was the first one. Can you put on the screen the first one? Yeah, there is independent. Okay. Then it's okay now. Let me answer. Martin Arop. Let me answer. Martin Arop. Thank you so much for asking these questions. First of all, in any elections, there is an independent election, independent candidate. But independent candidate is not a candidate that comes out from a political party. If you don't manage to get a flag bearership from the party, you cannot contest as a candidate, as a independent candidate. But anybody who doesn't have a political party is okay for him or her to run as a candidate. You are not an SPLM, You are not an SPLMIO. You are not SAWA. You are not OPP. You are not National Agenda. Okay? Then you have to run as a candidate, as an independent candidate. But the repeat of 2010 will not happen again. That is why there is primaries. You go for primaries, and in primaries, okay, you will be contesting with even 50 people. If one person becomes the flag bearer, the rest will have to help that one person to campaign for election of that one person against the other flag bearer from the other party. That's how it happened. Even in United States of America, you cannot allow the same members of the political party, whether they are Republicans or Democrats, to fail the primaries and then come back to contest as candidate, that as an independent candidate. The independent candidate start completely from the scratch. They don't run after losing election, the primaries from the other political parties. So within the SPLM, yes, the SPLM will allow candidates that are not politically party registered to run as independent candidate, but not the members of the SPLM. The members of the SPLM who will be running for the primaries, if they lose, they have lost. There is no any way that they can come and hang themselves on the election. Concerning the last questions about President Kiir being nominated already as a flag bearer, I think there is something misunderstood by the people here. It was the Bahr el Ghazal region, not the whole of South Sudan. The Bahr el Ghazal region members of the SPLM, okay? The Bahr el Ghazal region members of the SPLM came up with an idea that if the election of 2024 is going to happen, we from Bahr el Ghazal, the members of the SPLM in Bahr el Ghazal, we are not going to contest with President Salva Kiir. We will allow him as a flag bearer. Only Bahr el Ghazal region, okay? It is not the whole country. The SPLM is working to go to the grassroots, Upper Nile, Equatoria, and Bahr el Ghazal, to bring members of the convention to Juba. This is what the Political Parties Act even requires. In order for a party to be a national party, it must have at least 4,000 members across 10 states or 80 states, at least 80 states out of 10, in order for you to be a national party. Those briefcase parties will actually win as a result of this provision. If a party that is being held on the back cannot get 4,000 members, they have to wait completely. They have to go and then look for where they will be actually fitting. Either they join alliance with the other parties in order for them to be able to have members, at least in the 80 states, or just becomes the regional parties in which they can, if they are from Awil, they contest in northern Bahr el Ghazal. If they are from Lake State, they contest from Lake State. If they are from Upper Nile, they contest from Upper Nile. They cannot come to Juba. They will have, like, you look at the India, there are members of the parliament, there are parties that contest in Uttar Pradesh, or contest in Maharashtra, or contest in Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, and all this. And they don't come to New Delhi because they don't have, they don't have the something that will allow them to be calling themselves national, because they cannot be found anywhere, they're members. So when people goes for convention, in convention, this is where the president, the chairperson of the SPLM, is elected. In 2008, I was a member of the National Convention. We elected President Salva Kiir as the flag bearer for the SPLM. So what was done in Bahr el Ghazal is subject, okay, to confirmation during the National Convention. So it is not bulldozed. If there is anyone during the convention that will come up inside the room and says he wanted to contest with the chairperson, is allowed by the law. The law is there within the SPLM that allows anybody who want to contest for the leadership of the SPLM to contest. So what was done in Bahr el Ghazal, it was the sons and daughters of Bahr el Ghazal who are within the SPLM who felt like they don't want to be contesting with the president. They want to leave the president as a flag bearer. So the convention comes and we see what is going to happen from there. President Salva Kiir did not bulldoze anything.
I have a follow-up.
I think that back to studio.
Okay, I have a follow-up. You said that the Bahr el Ghazal region, they decided to appoint the president as a black bearer of SPLM. What if, and the primary election is not yet being conducted? When will the primary election be conducted? And who will be running with president in primary election within SPLM party? And that person will run with president. Will that person still going to go to Bahr el Ghazal region to contest with president? So because I'm confused here, I don't know how the election go in South Sudan, because primary election is not being held yet. And then Bahr el Ghazal region, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me tell you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, let me tell you this. Okay, let me tell you this. The conversion on WOW, okay, when the members of the SPLM converge on WOW to confirm President Salva Kiir as the flag bearer comes 2024 elections. They have done it prior to going to the grassroots. Okay, the grassroots, you know, our country is not passable. There are some places that cannot be reached during the rainy season. Anything you do in South Sudan, whether elections or primaries or general election, you must do it in December onwards. December to April. These are the years, these are the months of any elections to be held. Otherwise, there are places that even in November, when the rain has already stopped, they can't be accessed simply because they still have water and they are flooded. But from December, January, February, March, this is where the elections are conducted. So the SPLM is willing to go down. Comes December, they will go to the whole of South Sudan. Okay? They will be contesting in their areas. If Abraham did come, if you are from Malengok, you are from Kyachok, or from Pachong, you will come.
Actually, I'm from
Pachong. There are members of the SPLM in Pachong. If they wanted to contest with you, okay, in Kyachok, you contest with them. If you beat them, you come to Juba as a flag bearer of Malengok, who is now, you stay in Juba until the time of election. You will meet the members of other political parties who will be running actually, who are from Lagos State, from the same place as you are. They will run with you there. So those people will be about 1,200 and 1,200 members of convention will converge to Juba. They will be brought to Juba by the SPLM. Okay? They will be going to Freedom Hall. Okay? From there, that is the forum where the chairman of the
We apologize, our viewers, for the technical issues. I think his internet went off. Let's just give him like 2 minutes to come back so that he can make his last remark, because our time is really hard. But because he was answering some of your questions, that's why we allowed him to proceed. Otherwise, we did not intend to go beyond 1 hour, because we don't want to keep our viewers for 2 to 3 hours. Thank you so much. I think he's coming back. Once he comes back, he will conclude his show. Thank you so much, Joseph Sabin Majur. We thank you so much, my brother, for being active and for watching, and all our viewers. Let me use this time to appreciate you. It's not easy to pay your give your time and watch and listen very kindly, because those who ask questions are those who listen to the guests. Thank you so much. We are who we are because of you, and keep cheering. And your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions on how Lagos State media should move on will be highly welcome and will be highly incorporated into our documents. Kindly, if you think you have an idea on how we should adjust our show or our activities, kindly invoke us through Lagos State media, and we will really appreciate your opinion. Thank you so much. Our guest is back, Honorable Maulana Ateny Wek Ateny.
Yes.
Welcome back, and we apologize for the inconveniences. Since our time is out, so we'll give you 3 minutes to give us your last remark and your last message to South Sudanese. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lagos State Media. It has been a pleasure actually talking to you. You know, I've been avoiding talking online because of this fear of malicious people trying to amend and try to produce audios that are cut and connect in order to connect many things that don't match actually together. I'm a person, for those who knows me, if I want to criticize, I criticize. If I want to support, I support. I don't have, I don't have a blurry line. So I thank you very much for actually standing firm. And that shows your online media has become very professionals. I can approve this. Somebody saying cell phone bill in order to have a grade what later time pay his cell phone bill in order to have grade what loan.
He meant great line.
Okay. In order to have grade line,
Yeah,
it's talking about the internet.
A line anyway.
Yeah,
is it line? Sorry,
it's about the internet. He's talking about the internet issue.
Oh, my internet or his internet?
Your internet.
That's why.
Okay. There's no in South Sudan. There's no any other internet you can pay monthly like the one in the United States or in Europe. What I have is a modem, which is a pay as you go. It is already paid for a month, and each month is $100 any month. So I pay for it. It's not free. The free one that
is expensive.
The free Wi-Fi that I used last time failed us miserably on last Sunday. That's why I couldn't even come here. Yes, but now I will be paying $100 every month to top up my pay-as-you-go Wi-Fi. There's no doubt about that. So I want to thank you, Lagos State Media, for having me today. It has been great, interactions, and particularly those in Clubhouse. I also thank them for actually bearing their time with us. It was going to be a good one if Abraham Awuleju was to be here, because he was also to tell us the reason why he doesn't want to go for elections. And at the same time, he's also making noise from the background that the government has not done 1, 2, 3, 4. The only time for the government to be accounted for is through election. So we were going to listen to his very good views about why the election cannot be conducted. I look forward next time to actually debate him verbatimly instead of just on a written one to tell us exactly why he doesn't want the elections. If you look at this, Michael McQuay and myself here, okay, we are great believers of the elections. And Abram on the other side, with other people, is also a great believer of not conducting election on the other side. The other members of other political parties did not come up to say whether they want election or they don't want election. And we cannot go to the rooms to ask them. They will come out at their own time when they wanted to say anything or any view about how they feel about the future of the country, as the country is for all of us. So I thank you very much. I hope the malicious guys elsewhere will not be able to make another video similar of that of 19, which happened without me talking to anybody. I'm not going to dwell much about those videos that audios that are made maliciously. So long as the Lagos State media will put a right video to be accessed by those who would want to go for a positive one, they will find the original video. I'm not taken aback by what was done actually on the 19th. I have no problem. I'm not fearing. I am here to say what I believe is right. So what I want to tell people of South Sudan is that the country is for all of us. And we must all, even if we want to oppose the government, we should oppose the government on the premises that the government is corrected. Government is corrected instead of destroying the country. Those who want to destroy the government and at the same time excessive in their force of how to destroy the government, they don't think that they are actually putting the country online. Like now, during the fighting in 2013, some people made stories that were not possible to happen. Even though that lady who said his son was eaten alive, eaten. The flesh of his son was eaten. It went to other people as if South Sudanese as cannibals, those who can eat other human flesh. It is putting us in trouble in future. During the time when we all went to Western world, you people went to United States. I think Isaac Ting Paul is in Australia, isn't it? Okay. We had stories to tell those who were actually doing our interviews in order to accelerate or to convince them that we had run away from persecution that was aimed at us by the government of the day in Sudan. The same thing, we cannot do it for South Sudan. And if we are doing it, we have to do it responsibly, so that you talk about things that happened to you, not imaginary things that did not happen. So I wanted to ask everyone that would be opposing government, please oppose the government responsibly, because a citizen has rights and duties. But don't do something that will destroy the country. Because at the end of the day, we need this country. By the way, I don't know whether people feel like me, because I'm always nostalgic. Whenever I try to visit Europe, the same day I arrive in Europe or in America, it's the same day I wanted to come back to Juba, because I miss this country so much when I travel outside. Okay? The only enemy that could keep me 10 years continuously without coming back to South Sudan was the Sudan. Enemy was the Sudan. That's why I've stayed in Britain 10 years without coming to South Sudan. But now I'm not seeing any enemy that will send me away from South Sudan, because I love South Sudan so much. I want to be in South Sudan. Whether I'm doing right thing or I'm doing wrong thing, I must be in South Sudan here. So this is the spirit I want anybody to embrace as a son or daughter of South Sudanese. Disagree with the government, but don't disagree with South Sudan. This is what I want to say. And I love all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny. To our viewers, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your dedication. And thank you for your opinions that you share on the comment sections and you ask some of the questions. It shows to our guest that you are listening to him, and that is what the conversation is all about. To the people in the clubhouse, thank you so much. You are doing great work and you are doing tremendous job on clubhouse. You always gather there to discuss the affairs of South Sudan, despite your busy schedules in Australia, in North America, in Europe, and everywhere. Thank you so much. We don't take it for granted. You always encourage us to invite more guests, invite more great minds of our country to come and talk to you. And we appreciate that as Lagos State Media Team. To our guests, Honorable Ateny Wek, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that as Lagos State Media for always responding to our invitation and come and share your opinions with South Sudanese, despite the challenges we are in. To the extent now you bought yourself a modem that you'll be paying $100 per month. So nobody can do that. Nobody can waste that $100, which is equivalent of 100,000+ South Sudanese pounds in this hardship. Yet you are not even working. But you did that simply because you want to interact with South Sudanese in diaspora and South Sudanese at home. Keep it up and God will reward you for that. Thank you so much. And we will look forward to invite you more to come and interact with the many South Sudanese. I will yield it back to the president of Lagos State Media and the coordinator, our able coordinator, Abraham Adin Majak. You are doing tremendous work and we really appreciate that. Isaac Tiang Paul, you don't sleep simply because of South Sudan and simply because of Lagos State Media. Bolma Kura Chen, as a deputy president of Lagos State Media, we are humbled to have you to serve South Sudanese and our honorable Abraham, sorry, Agardemobok. We call up Agardemobok as Honorable Michael McQuillan simply because of his job. He's in charge of information of Lagos State Media. Thank you so much, my members. I really appreciate you and I'm humbled to work with you. May God be with you. May God bless South Sudan and may God bless our viewers. I yield it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Makur Malag, the able Secretary General of Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries, for the hosting this grateful show. For the clubhouse, we will close down here and we will continue on the other side. If should you have more questions, we will continue discussing it in the other side. Now Honorable Ateny is coming back again, and I think he has already said goodbye to everybody. We are coming to the closure of the show. Okay, Honorable Ateny Wek Ateny, we thank you so much for your time with us, and we are still looking forward to meet with you again for other furious debate. May God bless you. May God bless all of us. May God bless Republic of South Sudan.
If Abraham is ready, thank you.
No worries. He will be with you.
Yeah, we will. Actually, we will schedule a show next week with you and Abraham.
Yeah, next weekend.
Next Sunday. Same time, you and Abraham will be available that time. So we'll bring you back again. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in. God bless all of you. God bless the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you.
Pibor, Pin Ping William, Atoyin Juba, Malatori, Ayambio, Pin Ping William, Atoyin Benti, Walla Quaju, Kayawao, Pin Ping William, Atoyin Malkal, Walla Pinyaram, Pin Ping William.